Basically, whenever a particular person has to grow in the career ladder, then he or she has to set up some goals, and also they have to set up, give some kind of expectation, set the expectations in the beginning of the year, saying that whether he or she has the visibility, like what are the roles and responsibilities that they have, and what kind of expectations the manager has, like what is the target, what is actually achieved. So in the beginning of the year we actually set the targets, and after each and every quarter we will do the evaluation. So when it comes to evaluation, there will be a chance for both worker as well as manager to do the evaluation. So when it comes to the worker, it is called self evaluation. That means initially he was asked to set the goals, and after a quarter he is being asked, like, do you think you have achieved your goals? So what is employee's perception? Maybe he can say, yeah, I have actually met so and so, but still it is not completed. I'm yet to achieve this goal, maybe in quarter 2 or quarter 3. Or if he feels he has already achieved that particular goal, then he can give some evidence, like, yes, I have been the star performer and this is the evidence. So first thing is we set up the goals, and after that the worker will do some evaluation. Once that is done, manager will be able to see whatever comments have been submitted by the worker, and then he will give his evaluation or his comments, indicating that whether he has really met the expectation, still needs improvement, likewise. So in order to understand that, it is a combination of two different modules, that is goals as well as performance, because once we add the goals, the same goals will flow into the performance section, and under the performance we create the document or the template, and once the final rating is given, that flows to the profile. So that way all these things are related. I have told how these three are related. In addition to that, if at all we have a normal goal, then it will relate to performance. But if we have a development goal, then it would relate to either succession planning or the career development. That is the reason under the talent we have got different verticals. That is under the talent, different segments under the talent vertical. That is profile management, goal management, performance management. If means where exactly under the profile we can see the ratings, then we will see where we can configure the rating. So all the three things, there are few tasks which are mandatory and few tasks which are optional. So let's try to focus on the areas which are of prime importance, and as part of the session it would be possible, there will be a fair chance, there would be scenarios like I am switching one task in the profile, one task in the goal. That's how the flow is. That being the reason, there will be a switch in the tabs. Okay, so for example, under the profiles, the very important thing that we need to know is the item catalogs, because under the item catalogs, so item catalogs are nothing but the placeholders where we can store some information related to his behavior skills, or related to his qualifications or his skills. So anything, competencies, likewise. So under the catalog template, we will define what are his behavioral skills, competencies, or the degrees that he has achieved, or the education levels, or what kind of honors or the awards. Establishment I haven't used, I'm not familiar with that, so I apologize for that part. But rest of the topics like honors and awards, like if he already has some awards, then how that can help him in building his career ladder within the organization, and what are the languages that he is aware of or he is proficient with. Like he can be a beginner, he can be an intermediate, or he can be proficient, and if at all he has got some additional licenses or certificates. or if he is a member of any kind of councils, or he has undertaken any kind of projects. So these are all the parameters on which a particular person can be evaluated. So these are all called either the templates or the parameters on whom we can evaluate. It is not a mandate to have these parameters, but it is always good to have, like along with the goals, what are the other parameters the employee is being evaluated. So that's the first thing. So if I tell you over here, along with the goals, if we have got any parameters for evaluation, so that will be as part of the catalog. So as a first step, the goals shall be defined. Then if needed, these catalog items, then these will be tagged to the goal plan. Then the plan shall be launched. We have to define few of the prerequisites in order to link this with the performance plan. So performance plan is again integrated with multiple things. Like the way we have the goal plan, in the same way performance plan will have multiple attributes. So when we say attributes, the first primary thing is the review period. That is the duration for which the assessment is being made, like the tenure for which the employee is being assessed. Then we will define the rating model. So these can be defined in any order, but we need to ensure that these all are defined so as to build the template. So if I come over here, so under the talent, we should ensure that the item catalogs are defined. Once that is defined, we come back to the goals and we try to define, and in the other tab I'll open. So yeah, over here, so very limited tasks available under the goals. That is, if at all the goals are created and we want to see any particular person has which goals, then we can access this task. But if we want to add a goal, then we have to access performance goal library. Like, I'll tell you the difference. Just the way we have the individual compensation plans and individual compensation. So individual compensation corresponds to performance goals. Like when I click over here and look for a person, review period being 2023. So 10 to 15 customer calls per week. This is one of her goal. So ideally here we are searching for the employee and trying to see which goal is assigned to which person. When I come to the actual goal library, we'll have the flexibility to add the goals. That is our second task. That is performance goal library. So here I can find this goal if need be. Like I can copy this and I can find the goal. So here we can see what are the goals and the measurements. That is, it should be available for the HR specialist, manager as well as workers. And what type of goal is it? It is going to be a performance goal. Another one we discussed was about the development goal. So performance goals are always a mandate for performance document. Even without a development goal, we can still launch a performance document. So performance goals and then the development goals. This is mandatory, this is optional. So once we have, when we say goals are defined, we are indirectly defining the performance goal. And at least that particular person should have at least one goal. Only then we can associate that goal to the plan. And whenever we are associating this goal plan to any of the person, then we have to define the eligibility. So if we don't have any eligibility, that means it would be open for all. When it comes to eligibility profile, the approach remains the same. That is, we classify the eligibility profile as performance. But whatever eligibility we define for goals can be different from what we define at the performance plan level. So we can either have a different from above or same as above. So that's why when we get into our task pane once again, here we have the option for eligibility profile. So here we will create the eligibility. So that means here we will create the goals, we'll create the review period, we'll create the eligibility. After we have created all the three, we will link it with the goal plan. Once it is linked with the goal plan, then we have to actually launch the goal plan. So when we say launching the goal plan, we have just one process, that is schedule process for the performance goals, where we can do this launch. So to make you understand, one is defining the goals, defining the eligibility profile, defining the review period. Once that is defined, we will associate this with the goal plan. That is goal plus eligibility plus review period. Once that is done, we do the launch. So this is the process at a high level from the goal side. However, whenever we are adding or launching the goal plan, if we are going live with both goals and performance, which generally happens, we can also do an alternative thing. That is, we create the goals, set the eligibility, set the review period. After that, we can create the performance plan as well, and then try to link the goals. So the two approaches, I'll pull that. Let me know once you're able to see the screen. So if we have all the goals common across the organization, then we can define the goals, link it with the plan, and directly launch the plan. Instead of that, if we have different goals, then we can define the goal plan first, launch the goal plan, and then define the goals and launch the goals. And in both the cases, it would be, so how are we going to identify, like, when should, means in which way the process needs to be run? So here under the process type, we can say whether we want to assign the goal plans. So when we say assign the goal plans, we can create the process name. Or instead of that, if we select mass assign or share the goals, that means first we are sharing the goals and then the plan is being launched. So based on these two approaches, the first approach is to assign the goal plan. Approach 1, it is for assigning the goals along with the plan. And the second one is just to mass assign the goals after the plan is launched. In absence, we have several different processes, but in performance and goals, it is just one process in the goals and one process in the performance, via which we can just do the launch. It is only the difference in the parameters that we select. So let me come a step back. Like in the schedule, okay, I need to log in as an end user and then I can show. And here we can create the review periods, whichever are the review periods that we want to go about. So for the training session that we had seen, the goal plan, so this is going to be the period start date and the so in the goals one, yeah. So once the goals are created, review period and the eligibility profile is created, we'll create the goal plan, launch the goal plan, and then check for the goal plan under the performance goals. So once that is visible, the next step would be to create the template. So when we say template, in view of the business scenario, we say performance document, we say performance template, but it is one and the same thing. And again, the way we have the goal plans being built based on certain parameters or certain factors, in the same way we will have even the performance being driven by certain factors. So I'll pull that up. Whenever we have to create a performance document, first we have to create the eligibility. But this is optional. Why? If we want to use the same eligibility as the goal, then we can skip this part. However, if we want a different eligibility for the performance and different eligibility for the goals, then we will need to create first the eligibility. Followed by that, we will have the document type that needs to be created, that is performance document. And then we'll create the content items. So content items are nothing but the ones that we had a look, that is behavioral and those. So if we have not defined it at the, so along with the goals, there can be other parameters for evaluation. So for that, we define the content items. Then we define the rating models. So when we say rating models, it's like whether it's star rating that we want to, or numeric rating we want, or we can also define like met expect, like a kind of scale, that is one for top performer, another one for, or let's say 3 scale rating, exceeds expectation, met expectation, or needs improvement, like a kind of 3 scale rating. That is also possible if, means based on the need, or if it is just directly 1 2 3 4 5, or a kind of numeric rating, let's say 1.45, 3.75, based on the weightage. So whenever we are defining the goals, we can uh, actually set the weightage as well. That is, if a particular goal is created, then what is the preference or the nature? Not kind of nature, let's say the goal 1 should have a weightage of 30%, and goal 2 should have a weightage of 40%, and goal 3 should have a weightage of 20%, and goal 4 as a weightage of 20%. That way we will stay aligned with that 100%. Like we should ensure that the weightage doesn't go beyond 100%. So that way either he can have 4 goals adjusted in this manner, 30, 40, 20 and 10, or alternatively he can just have 3 goals saying 40%, 30%, and then 30%. So we can have, there is no any restriction on number of goals, but we should ensure that the weightage does not exceed beyond 100. Are we clear so far on the goals part? So over here, once we have defined this rating model, we will define the flow. That is, first goals need to be evaluated, or the content items need to be evaluated, and which sections should be available for whom. So this is indirectly the structure that we are going to define. So here we define the structure and the overall flow of that particular performance document. And then we actually define for which period we are going to do the evaluation. So earlier one was termed as review period. This one is termed as document period. Earlier one was termed as goal eligibility. This is template eligibility. When we have all these attributes in place, then we can say, yeah, our performance document is now ready for use. But all it consists of all. So either we say performance document, or it can be performance template. Now coming to the UI, let's see what all means through which all areas. So again, as I told, in the performance goals, we can do the search, that is the goals that are already assigned to the people. In the same way, performance document task, in the sense, what are the performance jobs which are already assigned to the employees, that can be checked over here. And what is the feedback given by the participants, which would come at a later stage. And for the performance eligibility, like whatever eligibility profile that we have created, whether the particular person is actually eligible for that or not. That can be checked from here. And process mass action for performance document. If we want to create the performance document in bulk, then this is the schedule process that we are going to run. As you can see at the setup and maintenance level, all the key factors are showing up. That is how we set the review period, how we set the eligibility profile, what is the document type that we select, and within that, what are the sections that should show up. So under the performance template sections or the performance templates, we can see like how the structure should look like. And then we will define the check-in templates and feedback templates are optional. Then we can run the eligibility batch process just to identify which are the employees who are eligible for this particular performance document, not all. And finally, we can set the alerts like if the plan is launched. After that, nobody has taken an action for let's say 10 days. Then the reminder should get sent. So there are few reminders which can be set at the config level, but for enhanced one, we need to go with the custom alerts. But these are the delivered ones.